How do you stay healthy for the Lord? Healthy believers are prompted by love. The reason I obey the Lord is not because I think I'm going to earn my way or I think I'm going to make points with him. It's because I love him. Jesus said, if you have my commandments and keep them, you love me. And what's the byproduct of loving Jesus? He who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him. What was the group picture Jesus sent? With 144,000, he's smiling in the midst. What do they have on their head? They have me and my Father. I love the Father. I love the Son. I love him so much, I'm going to say no to sin. The reason I say no to sin is now I'm afraid someone's going to catch me. I mean, there's always that, awareness of getting in trouble. The biggest deterrent to saying no to sin is love. See, that's why only marry someone that you love so much that you do what Jesus says. You'll have your eyes single for them. Young ladies, do you want to do a little test of what boys you should date? Instead of looking for the one that works out all the time, watch them in the dining hall and around campus and watch their eyes, okay? And if every time a group of girls go by, you see their eyes kind of like multi-phase radar going up and down, looking at every girl going by, that's a dangerous boy to marry. Because you know what? Getting married will not make his eyes be only on you. They'll still be on every girl that walks by. You go to any restaurant and watch the men. They watch every girl that goes. It's like, unless they're going in their wallet getting their money out or they're on their phone, they're watching every girl that goes by. Or, they're watching every boy that goes by if they're, homosexual. But you know what I mean? They're sexually driven and attracted. And you shouldn't date one of those. Healthy believers are prompted by love, and what keeps us glued and our eyes single on the Lord is not fear. It's love. Secondly, healthy believers are lifelong trained by grace. Do you remember what I said Paul taught? Paul wrote this from Corinth. He wrote Titus and Romans from Corinth. What a place to write it from with everything going on in Corinth. And he says to the people on the island of Crete, for the grace of God that saved you, verse 12, teaches us, denying ungodliness and worldly lust. I am trained by grace. The grace of God says to me, I'll give you the strength, I'll give you the power, I'll give you the desire to say no to what? Ungodliness, worldly lust. So I live soberly, righteously, godly today, looking for Jesus' return. That's how I'm supposed to live. How do I do that? Healthy believers make a choice every day. When I say I stand in the circle, what I'm talking about is I do this. I say, God, I want to put off any of the old man, my flesh that's showing up, which grows corrupt according to deceitful lusts. And I want you to renew my mind. Because I get so much stuff, you can't even, go anywhere without seeing something that is ungodly in our world. And so we need constantly to renew our mind. By the way, how do you renew? It used to be easier to describe this. There used to be libraries and books, and you checked books out of the library, and then you renewed your library books. I guess maybe there was even a time when you renewed your DVDs or VHS tapes or whatever. But basically, renewal means you took the book or the tape or the whatever back and put it on the counter, and you said, it's yours, but I'd like it longer. And they would open the cover, and in the old days, they would take this stamp, and they'd go, and they'd stamp it and say, there you go, you have another week. That's what renewal is. We come back to the Lord and say, I belong to you. And I want my mind renewed. I want you to cleanse it and refocus it and set my affection back on things above. And then, so I put off, I'm renewed, I put on the promises of God. God wants very much to fulfill his word in our lives. He wants to do everything he promised to do. All we have to do is say, yes, that's what I want to. Fourthly, healthy believers take a sacred vow. Remember I told you this last week? I said the 101st Psalm is David's spiritual vows to the Lord. David was a man after God's own heart. Even in the New Testament, Jesus is called the Son of David. Even though that guy broke all 10 commandments, David did. Why did God speak so highly of David? Why did he say he fulfilled my purpose in his generation? Because down deep, David had, even though he failed miserably with Bathsheba and raising his kids, and being proud, even though he had failures, he was blameless. Why? Because his sins were under the coming sacrifice of Christ. What did his love for Christ do? He made these vows. This is Psalm 101:3. David said, I'll set nothing wicked before my eyes. That's what I quoted to the little Jezebel that I met on the missions team. I was quoting this verse. Why did I think of that as I was grabbing my handle of that cot and getting my Bible and backpack back? It's because I had a spontaneous reminder of a previously learned verse. That's a spiritual gift of knowledge. I had brought to mind a verse I had memorized, a sacred vow I had made. I said, I don't want to set anything wicked before my eyes, and I don't want the works of those who fall away, the people that aren't for God, I don't want it to cling to me. I don't want to be like your enemies, God. Remember the church of Pergamos were comfortable around what God hated? I don't want to be. And if you want to be healthy, you don't want to be. Fifthly, what happens when we do see bad stuff? What happens when we are exposed to evil, either lyrics or actual things in our life, or someone pollutes us? How much more shall the blood of Christ, this is Hebrews 9:14, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, cleanse your conscience from dead works. All of us have seen things, heard things, done things that little things remind us, and it just causes problems. You know what the Lord wants to do? He wants to open the file cabinet and empty that drawer out. He wants to purge our minds, cleanse us from that. We just have to ask him to do it. And you have to really want it. He can take any memory, any picture, and do you know how Joseph put it? God made me forget all the evil my brothers did to me. Did he have a lobotomy? Did he have part of his brain cut out? No, God can suppress he can purge the evil influence of memories away from us. We don't have to be forever injured by, how people have harmed us. If we allow that to cripple us the rest of our life, it can, but God can purge the bad files. Number 6, we reclaim boldness. The other part of Hebrews 9:14 is 10:22. So once I say, I want you to purge my mind, we can draw near with a true heart in full assurance. See, we get that boldness back. What does the Bible say? The righteous are as bold as a lion. The wicked run when no one's chasing them. Reclaim boldness by asking the Lord to give you full assurance of faith. And then finally, it's the circle. We renew this consecration over and over again. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God. Hebrews 6 talks about presenting our members, and Romans 6 and then Romans 12 talks about the process. We present our body, we ask him to renew our mind. And that's a never-ending, ongoing choice we make.